Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of AJ's Farm. We will be talking about the John Deere 140s. The serial numbers will be below 30,000, so from 30,000 all the way back to number 1. This is the 140 hydrostatic model. They did make manuals of the 140, like 1, 2, 3 in reverse, but those are very rare to find because they only made like 50 of them. So this is the service manual. We will be talking about the John Deere. Why is my camera not focusing? Hello. Lawn and Grounds Care Division. This manual is the 2086 model, but it was made this OG, let's call it log with a U 70, which is the 70th model of the log that they did. There's many different models. There's all the way from the 10th model, which they go up by 10, so this is the 7th model, let's call it. So, let's flip the page here. We will not be talking about anything over here, but we will be talking about these two sections, section 50 and 60. We will not talk about 70 because we do not need to get into the information of this. So if you want to take a minute and you can read through this, but if you have a model of the same thing at home, then you can use that from your home. Now, I will see you in a second because I need to flip the pages, which is going to take me a minute. So we'll see you in a sec. So welcome to section 60, or 50, sorry, of the powertrain. Now, this is the general information, and this will be group 5 of section 50. Now, we will be basically trying to talk about all of this in here, and I probably won't get into the specifics of the clutch, because the clutch I don't really know much about, and the different couplings, and we'll talk about the brakes, and how the brakes work, and how they squish together, and all that different stuff. So, we'll get into that, and I'll see you in the next page. So, this page here is more about this. We'll probably not get into this today, because mine does not have power steering or any different stuff like that, but mine does have is this right here. Now, if there was a power steering model, it would be in the back of the pump, back here, hooked to the PTO shaft, which this is the PTO shaft here, where you could hook up a rototiller, a 3-point wood mower deck, brush hog, whatever you wanted on there. So, up here would be the motor in this corner, the far right corner of my screen. So right here is the clutch, which we will not get into, but this is the basket around the clutch with the screen on it. And then right in here is the clutch mechanism in this shaft here. So here's the drive shaft. Don't break one of these because they are very hard to find. Here is the fan, which cools all of this. So when the motor is running, it's spinning this. So when the motor's spinning, it only gets to a certain RPM. So when you're cranking the motor, this is not spinning. None of this is spinning. So when you engage that lever, there's a neutral in this transmission. So when you push the lever forward on that, it moves this cam one way or the other, and that makes you go forward or it makes you go backward. So what happens is when you try and go forward, that'll turn probably this way on there, and then it pushes a little thing to a gear, which is like right in here, in there, and it'll push that forward onto it on a tooth, and it'll push it forward and give you forward motion. And as the clutch loosens up more, and in this coupler here, there's a bearing in this coupler, and in that coupler is what holds the fan to this and all that stuff, but it pushes more and more forward and then sometimes it'll even get onto another gear, which will make you go even faster. And then in reverse, it's one gear only, and it just slides onto that gear, and you move backwards as you go. And then moving on back here, this is the PTO pump, which basically runs through here, transfers power into the differential and axle assembly. And we'll talk about later this cam control and how you can set that to neutral, and the right hand brake, how you can set that in the left hand brake, which is over here. Under all of this Bungalow is the oil filter, which is a pain to get off, by the way. So I would recommend using an oil filter wrench. Okay, on to the next page. There's nothing on this page, as you can see. It's blank. It's for notes. Okay, so over here, this is in my farm tour video, the number 2. I have a more in-depth part of a video, but that one, so my 69, and then there's the 70 with the float. And that one is the one with this setup here. It has the 1 clutch pedal, no 2 brake pedal over here. And this whole thing actuates the clutch throwout. And then over here, this actuates both brakes to lock them at the same time. And sometimes I push this pedal down and this will push forward, so you always want to reach under there and keep that spring lubed. So go under the mower and under the machine and oil that spring, because that will stick. And that'll make that stick up and you'll lose brakes basically. So back here on this, here are the 2 hubs. And those are very easy to change. You just pull the axles out and you just unscrew the axles. Basically, you have to get all new axles and hubs with it. They come together in a big long box. So basically what you do is, for the brakes, there's another picture in here that come apart, but when you pull the brakes off, how you pull them off is you undo this little piece right here. And after you undo that, you can basically loosen those 2 bolts right there, and then that comes off. Then after you have it apart, you can undo those all the way, and then the brake shoes come off, and they pop right off after you pull that bolt through. So then after you get the bolts off and through, and then you can set your new pads in there, and then you can basically screw the nut and bolt back together. And how you can fix it from squeezing too hard or loosening is in this counter shaft. There's different splines on that counter shaft on both sides. You just undo that little thing right there. You basically just undo the little pin, and then after you undo that pin, you can pull the counter shaft. You can pull the counter shaft off of the spline shaft. Then you can adjust it from up or down. And if you adjust it up, it'll loosen the brakes. You adjust it down, so up will loosen it, down will tighten it. So loosen, tight. And you can just move it each way. If you have, and what you want is at least, let's say, I don't know, like a 38th of an inch or 60 thousandths on a feeler gauge. It doesn't matter. That's what I specify for. It doesn't matter to you guys. You can do whatever you want. And you can adjust the tightness by pressing it to loosen the bolts and tighten the bolts. Alright, so let's move on here. Alright, let's get this over here. I'll probably edit that out. Shh, don't talk to me. Okay, so here is the brake shoes. And then here's the brake disc. And how you change the brake disc is you pull the whole hub assembly and axle, out. And then you can undo like 4 different bolts in there, and then it pulls right out. Both sides, same thing. So there's a more picture of without the seat pan and the fenders and all that on there. I call it the body of it. But there's the fan right there, right over there, that thing. And then here's all the different mechanisms. And down here's the coupler to the fan, which holds the fan on. And I don't know anything about this diagram besides it's in the front by the motor. And we will not get into, you can stop, pause the video, read this, read whatever you want. Put it right there for you guys. Okay, moving on. Now, this page over here just shows all your part numbers and all the different stuff you need. And this clutch cone is what is inside of that inside of the screen on that. And then over here is the different things. You can probably barely see that, but that is the cover to the motor that goes on the motor. And then this is what's laid out. You can look at that. Alright, moving on now. We are going to talk about this cam here. I kind of wish it was on this page so it would be a lot easier. This page over here, this thing. So right here is the cam, the cam that makes it go forward or reverse. Now right here is the drive to, and then to the lever, which the lever is, this is on the bottom of the machine / tractor, lawn tractor, whatever you want to call it. It is not a lawnmower. If you classify it as a lawnmower, it's fine. I mean, they mow your yard, but that's what city people call it. And I'm not to be rude, but yes. So basically what this is it goes up to the lever, you push it forward, it pulls it, which pushes it down here, which is forward, and you pull it back, it pushes that back, which puts it in reverse. Now, if you can't go forward all the way, what would happen is you are not in neutral. And how you can fix that is you can loosen this right here, and you can turn that cam to where you're in neutral, or you can turn that cam to where you're in neutral, whichever way you want. So you can turn it this way or this way to make you in neutral, which there's a little indent in that to make it neutral. And then over here is how to assemble the drive shaft to the clutch and all the clutch different things and all that stuff. We will not get into that. And they, on this page, this is really cool. I love this. This is how to compress. This is their spring compressor, and it tells you on here. My friend has one of these, but you take a torque wrench, you set it to like 50 foot-pounds, and that would be to your retention spring on, like right here on your clutch. That would be about 50 foot-pounds, or 3/8 inch, whatever you want to call it. And then you just basically see what, because this is a John Deere made part for the 140, so you can tell on here what it is. And then on the left side is for your 100 series and your 90s, 80s, 70s, 60s, 50s, and 40s models of what you want. And then this basically shows everything else. And then there's that little screen. Now, this shows everything else that we're not going to get into because I don't feel like doing it. So let's go on to the next page. And they have a hub puller, which you just pull the hub off with. Over here, this is the brake assembly on the machine. This tells you what fluids I use. What I use in my machine is hydraulic oil or power steering oil, same thing. Almost the same thing. One's a little clear, one's red, or one's clear, one's blue. Power steering fluid is always going to be clear. It's like water, but it's thick water. That's what she said. I'm just kidding. So this just shows you all your different gears. Oh, you can't see that. Over here is your gear motor, which is some different things, and it just shows you underneath where that under that cam over here is to where that actuates, and it puts you in reverse or puts you in a neutral, or it can do that. So if you have more problems with your hydro creep, which it creeps the tractor forward ever so slightly because you're not neutral, it's due to this or due to that cam not being there, or you have high flow for the pump, which means you have too much flow in your pump and you don't have the right settings for your motor. So yeah, it could be something to that, to where the oil, you have too much oil on there and it's pushing your gear onto that drive and it's just eating that gear away. Slowly but surely it will eat it away and kill your motor. or not your motor, your, excuse me, it will kill your, it will kill all your gears. Finally, I found the word. I don't know why I can't find the words. Over here is the, your different valves and trains and all that stuff, your valve train stuff. Okay, so over here is a diagram of all the different stuff. More stuff, more stuff. Let's see here. There's a hydraulic tester that you can buy on eBay. They use it. They say hook it up to this and put it forward at put it half throttle. No, first at idle, push it forward. Makes okay. So where's it at? The tester hooks to your PTO cover, which is right there, and what it does is, alright, I'm reading that, and different things. So the tester at idle, it should read 30 pounds, half throttle, 150 pounds, 125 pounds, and then full throttle should be 200 pounds, and that's all at half speed. No, full speed is, full speed in full throttle is 200 psi, but the rest of them are half speed. And it just keeps talking about, and then you do the front thing as well, is the same thing as you just push it forward, it reads it, and then blah blah blah. And then basically the rest of it is different feeler gauges and different things, how to do that. Sorry this was a lengthy video, but it got some information out there for people to use and get to know about how to rebuild it. Hopefully in the next episode we will show you different things, but that will probably not be till like summer or something in the know-how of that time. So a couple months, look forward to a specific explanation for that, which it'll probably be in probably my birthday, which is in April. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching, and God bless all, and don't forget to subscribe and like this video. Bye. God bless.